He lunged at me with a wine opener. I ran to Scott's house and used a burner phone. Later, Diddy not only threatened to have her freak-off tapes released, but that he would harm not only her, but also Kid Cudi, which I'm sure you know he's very capable of doing so.
But that's not even close to the darkest part of what these two men were allegedly doing. Because while Diddy was threatening to destroy lives, another Hollywood golden boy was standing right there, watching it all happen.
They wrongly diagnosed me, and they when I asked them, how much lithium did you want to put me on exactly? It took them 4 days to answer because they were embarrassed about the amount, right? And I refused to take this, right? You understand that if I had taken the medication, I would not be here, and it would have been, he was deeply troubled. We miss him. We love his music, though.
Well, they would have Britney Spears you. I mean, look at
they would have Michael Jackson
or worse, yeah. So look at what they did. Look at what they did to Britney. When she went in, she was tired, she was exhausted, she was in a bad way. But 10 years of that medication wrecked her brain. You can see it now.
Yeah. Two women, two nearly identical fates, and one name that's been quietly connecting them both this entire time, until now. But here's what nobody has been connecting. It's not just about one Britney, it's about two. It's not just about Diddy, it's about Epstein. And everything allegedly happened on an island most people don't even know about. Look, if you've been following the absolute chaos that's been unfolding in Hollywood these last few months, you already know that Diddy's world is collapsing in real time. The feds are circling, the trial is getting messier by the day, and more importantly, people are finally starting to ask the questions that should have been asked years ago. But what most people don't realize is that Diddy's crimes didn't start last year. They didn't start 5 years ago. According to what's emerging now, they go back decades. And one man who allegedly witnessed it all, Ashton Kutcher, might finally be ready to talk. Now, before you think this is just another conspiracy theory, hear me out. Because the dots we're about to connect aren't random, they're geometric, they're intentional, and they paint a picture so dark that Hollywood's entire power structure might come crashing down if this is true. Let's start with the obvious question. How deep does Ashton Kutcher's connection to Diddy really go?
I was around Ashton Kutcher and Diddy before, and they were speaking about Brittaney Murphy. And I don't think I ever told this story, and I'm about to tell the story here.
See, most people think Ashton and Diddy just bumped into each other at parties, that they were casual acquaintances. But that's not what happened. According to reports, their friendship started in the early 2000s, right when Diddy was at peak power, right when he was allegedly running those infamous underground parties that nobody was supposed to know about. And Ashton, he wasn't just invited, he was part of the inner circle. Yo, you can't punk me. And I clapped back with, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table. That moment kicked off a whole vibe between them. And from there, they went on chilling on the regular, watching football games, hanging out, the whole thing. Watching football games. Right, that's one way to describe it. But here's the thing nobody wanted to say out loud back then. Ashton Kutcher had a pattern of being around women who died under mysterious circumstances. And it started with Brittaney Murphy. Brittaney Murphy was that girl in the early 2000s. She was serving iconic roles in Clueless, 8 Mile, Just Married, and on the set of Just Married, she met Ashton Kutcher. Now, according to reports, they dated for about 5 months. Not a huge deal on paper. But here's where it gets strange. After Ashton moved on to Demi Moore, a total Hollywood status grab by the way, Britney's name never really left his orbit. Rumors say he and Britney were still linking up behind the scenes. And this is key. At the same time, both Ashton and Demi were allegedly deep in those elite secretive spaces. The kind of spaces that included Diddy's freak-offs. So the question becomes, was Britney getting too close to secrets she was never meant to know? That silence is deafening. Because if Ashton was truly just a casual ex, why not post something? A throwback photo? A memory? Anything? But no, nothing. Radio, silence. And years later, people started wondering if that silence was strategic, if it was the silence of someone who knew something they weren't supposed to say. Now, fast forward to 2009, December. Brittaney Murphy collapses on her bathroom floor. She's rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, the same hospital where Biggie died, where Pop Smoke died, where a long list of suspicious celebrity deaths were pronounced natural causes. She's pronounced dead at 32 years old. The official cause, pneumonia and anemia, a mix of prescription medications, simple, clean, case closed, except nobody believed it. Not then, not now.
There were more unanswered questions after the autopsy came out than there were answered questions.
But then Britney's father stepped in. He wasn't buying the story. So he did something radical. He hired a private investigator. And that's when things got dark, really dark. Because they found something in Britney's hair. Heavy metals, antimony, barium, the kind of chemicals you'd find in pesticides, rat poison, even warfare toxins. The kind of chemicals that don't just appear in your body. Someone has to put them there. And the kicker? The original coroner said they didn't test for heavy metals because there was no clear reason to suspect something shady. But Britney literally told people she thought someone was was poisoning her. How is that not a clear reason? Now here's where the story gets connected to our second Britney, because in 2018, 9 years after Britney Murphy died, Diddy's ex-girlfriend Kim Porter also passed away. Same exact pneumonia diagnosis, same mysterious flu-like illness. And just like Britney Murphy, Kim had been paranoid before she died. She felt like she was being watched. She thought she was being poisoned. Exactly what Britney Murphy told her inner circle. 4 people, same house, same mysterious illness, same coroner, same hospital. Britney Murphy, Simon Monjack, Kim Porter, Corey Haim. All dead from pneumonia within a suspicious timeline. All allegedly scared before they died. All connected to the same circles. But connecting Britney Murphy to Diddy is one thing. The real bombshell is connecting both Britneys to Epstein. And that's where Ashton comes in, because according to what's emerging now, Ashton Kutcher wasn't just hanging out with Diddy at football games. He was allegedly part of a much darker circle. A circle that involved Jeffrey Epstein. A circle that involved an island and 2 women named Brittaney. Now, we need to talk about the Epstein files, because when the latest batch got released, something explosive came out. The Kardashians were mentioned, and not in a good way. A victim filed a complaint against Ghislaine Maxwell, claiming that the Kardashian sisters had been collaborating with Maxwell and Epstein to exploit her identity for business ventures and financial gain.
A lot of things happened at those Epstein parties that can't really be described. Paris also took part in them, and she used to force.
But here's the connection nobody's been making. The same people who were allegedly at Epstein parties, they were also allegedly part of Diddy's freak-offs. The same elite circle, the same power structure, the same pattern of silencing people who knew too much, and Ashton Kutcher, he was allegedly in the middle of it all. Now, let's talk about what was actually happening at these parties. Because according to multiple sources, Epstein's island wasn't just about wealthy people vacationing. It was a hunting ground, a place where young women, sometimes barely legal, sometimes not, were allegedly trafficked, exploited, and controlled. And the people running it, they had reach everywhere, into Hollywood, into the music industry, into every level of the entertainment world. Diddy wasn't the originator of the system. He was allegedly a student, a protege, learning from Epstein how to build an empire on the backs of vulnerable people, how to use money, power, and blackmail to keep everyone quiet.
Cassie said he told her that he wouldn't be harming her and Kid Cudi with his own hands, and it would happen when he was out of the country.
See how calculated that is? How planned? Diddy wasn't just an angry boyfriend. He was operating like someone who had done this before. Someone who knew how to give orders from a distance. Someone who knew how to make people disappear. And according to what we're hearing now, he learned that playbook from Epstein. So when Britney Murphy started asking questions about what was happening at those parties, questions she allegedly learned about through Ashton, she became a problem that needed to be solved. And when Britney Spears, the actual pop star, started getting too vocal during her conservatorship, asking too many people to listen to her story, asking for help, she became a problem too. A problem that needed to be contained.
Concerns me, I'm told I'm not allowed to expose the people who did this to me. For my sanity, I need you to the judge to approve me, do an interview where I can be heard on what they did to me. And actually, I have the right to use my voice and take up for myself.
That's not paranoia. That's not a mentally ill woman rambling. That's a woman who knew exactly who was controlling her. A woman who understood the power structure that had trapped her. And she was begging, literally begging for someone to let her speak, and the people who kept her quiet, according to the newly released Epstein files, that included Lou Taylor, Britney's conservator manager. And Lou Taylor had deep connections to Diddy. Diddy was one of her clients, and here's the crazy part. Lou Taylor was also allegedly using a slush fund connected to a church run by Kris Jenner to pay off Diddy's victims quietly, to keep them silent, to make sure the machinery of exploitation kept running. Think about that for a second. Britney Spears, who was trapped in a conservatorship, drained of over $600 million, had that money allegedly laundered through a company run by someone who also represented the man who may have been involved in Britney Murphy's death. That's not a coincidence. That's a system, a machine designed to extract everything from vulnerable women and then silence them if they try to speak up. Now, where does Ashton Kutcher fit into all of this? According to what's emerging, Ashton was allegedly one of the links between the Epstein world and the Diddy world. He knew about both circles. He allegedly attended events connected to both, and he was positioned perfectly to know things, dangerous things that could bring down some of the most powerful people in entertainment. Think about that for a second. Ashton positions himself as an anti-trafficking activist. He's on social media talking about the fight against exploitation. He's building a brand around protecting vulnerable people. But at the same time, he's connected to Diddy. He's in circles connected to Epstein. He was around when women died under mysterious circumstances. That's not activism. That's a smokescreen, a perfectly constructed PR shield to make sure nobody ever looks too closely at what he actually actually knows. But now, with the feds circling Diddy, with trial evidence exploding daily, with the Epstein files dropping new bombshells every week, Ashton is allegedly panicking. He's realizing that if Diddy goes down, he might go down too. He might be facing serious charges. So, what does he do? He starts talking. He starts considering flipping on Diddy. He starts contemplating revealing what he knows about Epstein Island, what he knows about the parties, what he knows about Brittaney Murphy. But here's where it gets really intense. Because if Ashton does flip, if he does start revealing what happened on Epstein Island, what happened at those freak-offs, what he knows about both Brittany's, the entire system collapses. The Kardashians go down for money laundering, Diddy goes down for murder, trafficking, and conspiracy. Lou Taylor gets exposed. The church money laundering operation gets exposed. All of it. That's why there's suddenly so much activity. That's why lawyers are scrambling. That's why the prosecution is dropping bombshell after bombshell. Because someone, maybe Ashton, maybe someone else in that circle, is finally deciding that their freedom is worth more than their loyalty to the powerful people who allegedly abuse that power. Now, let's talk about what we actually know versus what we're theorizing. We know Ashton Kutcher knew Diddy. We know he was in certain circles. We know he was connected to Brittaney Murphy. We know multiple women in his orbit have died under suspicious circumstances. We know the Kardashians were allegedly involved in Britney Spears' conservatorship alongside Lou Taylor, who also represented Diddy. These aren't theories. These are facts, documented facts. What we don't know yet is the full extent of what happened on Epstein Island. What we don't know is whether Ashton will actually testify. What we don't know is whether this will finally bring accountability. But here's what we do know. The walls are closing in. The feds aren't reopening Brittaney Murphy's case for no reason. Prosecutors aren't suddenly interested in ancient history unless they have a witness. And the timing is too perfect, too coordinated, too suspicious to be random. So what happens next? That's the million-dollar question. Does Ashton flip? Do we finally get answers about what really happened to Brittaney Murphy? Does the machinery of silence that protected Diddy, the Kardashians, and everyone else finally get exposed? The only thing we know for certain is that 2024 and beyond will be the reckoning that Hollywood has been running from for decades. Because you can't silence everyone forever. You can't pay off every victim. You can't cover up every death. Eventually, someone talks. Eventually, the truth comes out. And if Ashton Kutcher is that someone, if he finally decides that his freedom is worth more than protecting a legacy built on exploitation, then everything changes. The entire power structure that built itself on the backs of Brittaney Murphy, Britney Spears, and countless other vulnerable women finally crumbles. Britney was right. Silence is complicity. And if Ashton Kutcher finally breaks that silence, if he finally uses his voice to expose what he knows, then maybe, just maybe, justice is finally possible for the women who deserve protection and got exploitation instead. The question now isn't whether Ashton will talk. The question is, what will he say? And more importantly, who else will he take down with him? This story is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning.